You did everything right. You saved money. You cut back. You stayed disciplined. And somehow, it still feels like you're falling behind. Hi, I am Huey. I've spent years in markets, crypto, forex, watching money grow, disappear, compound, and collapse. And one thing becomes painfully clear after a while. Saving money today doesn't feel like it used to. And that's not in your head, because something changed. Not your behavior, not your discipline, the system. There was a time when saving money actually meant something. You'd put cash in a bank account, maybe earn a bit of interest, and over time, that money slowly grew. It felt stable, predictable. You didn't need to think about macroeconomics or central banks or global liquidity cycles. You just saved, and it worked. But now, you can save for years and still feel like you're losing. Let's break that down. Imagine you saved $10,000 over the past few years. That sounds responsible, disciplined. But during that same time, prices for everyday things, food, rent, transportation, have been rising fast. In many countries, real inflation has hovered between 5% to even 10% depending on the category. Now here's the problem. If your savings account gives you 1%, maybe 2% interest, you're not growing your money. You're shrinking it. Quietly, this is the first uncomfortable truth. Saving money today often means locking in a loss. Not because saving is bad, but because of what's happening around your money while it sits still. Inflation isn't just things getting more expensive. It's your money buying less every single year. And the gap between what you earn on saving and what inflation takes away, that gap is where people feel stuck. This is why saving feels useless. Because in real terms, you're running in place. But it gets deeper than that. Think about interest rates. Over the last decade, interest rates were kept extremely low across most of the world. Near zero in many places. That wasn't random. It was intentional. Low rates encourage borrowing. They push people and companies to take loans, invest, spend, expand. It creates growth, at least on the surface, but here's the side effect nobody talks about enough. Low interest rates punish savers. Because when rates are low, your savings don't earn anything meaningful. At the same time, asset prices go up, stocks rise, real estate climbs, risky assets explode. So if you're just saving cash, you're watching everything else get more expensive, faster than you can keep up. This is why someone who saved aggressively for a house over the last 5 years might feel like they're chasing a moving target. Because they are. House prices didn't just rise. They accelerated. And your savings stayed slow. So now you're stuck in this strange situation where doing the safe thing feels like the wrong move. That creates frustration, confusion, even doubt. You start thinking, what's the point of saving if I can't catch up anyway? And that's where behavior starts to change. Because when saving feels useless, people start taking more risk. They move into stocks without understanding them. They jump into crypto during hype cycles. They chase trends, momentum, quick wins, not because they're reckless, but because the system quietly nudged them there. And this is the second uncomfortable truth. When saving stops working, people are pushed into risk, not by choice, by pressure. Now let's layer something else on top. Wages. For many people, income hasn't kept up with the real cost of living. Yes, salaries may have increased on paper, but when you adjust for inflation, the buying power often hasn't improved much. Sometimes it's worse. So now you've got 3 things happening at once. Your savings grow slowly, prices rise quickly, income struggles to keep up. That combination creates a feeling that's hard to explain but easy to recognize. No matter what you do, it's not enough. You save more, but it doesn't feel like progress. And this is where the psychology really kicks in, because saving used to be rewarding. You could see the number go up and trust that it meant something. Now, that number goes up, but it feels hollow, because deep down, it doesn't stretch as far as it used to, and that realization changes behavior in subtle ways. People start spending more in the present because the future feels uncertain. They delay saving because it doesn't feel impactful, or they swing the other way completely. obsessing over investing, trying to beat the system. But here's the irony. The system wasn't designed for simple saving anymore. It shifted. Modern economies run on debt. Governments borrow, companies borrow, consumers borrow. Debt fuels growth. But for that system to keep moving, money has to circulate, not sit still. So policies, interest rates, liquidity injections, stimulus often favor spending and investing over saving. That doesn't mean saving is useless, but it does mean saving alone isn't enough anymore. And that's a very different world than the one people were taught to expect. Because most financial advice still sounds like this: save consistently, put money aside, build a safety net. All of that is still true, but it's incomplete because it ignores the environment your money is sitting in. And that environment matters more than ever. Let's make this real. Think about someone who saved aggressively from 2018 to 2023. They did everything right. But during that same period, global money supply expanded massively. Asset prices surged. Inflation spiked after 2020. So while their savings grew linearly, the world around them moved exponentially. That gap is what people feel today. It's not laziness. It's not lack of discipline. It's a mismatch between old strategies and a new system. Now here's where it gets even more uncomfortable, because the system doesn't just affect your savings, it shapes your decisions. When money loses value over time, holding cash feels like a bad move, so people try to deploy it quickly. That leads to bubbles, overvaluation, speculation, and eventually corrections, which then scares people back into saving. Right before inflation eats into it again, it becomes a cycle. And if you don't understand that cycle, it feels random, unfair, but it's not random. It's structural. This is why you'll hear two completely opposite pieces of advice at the same time. Save more. Invest or you'll fall behind. Both are trying to solve the same problem from different angles, but neither explains the full picture. Because the real issue isn't just what you do with your money. It's understanding what's happening to money itself, its value, its movement, its role in the system. Once you see that, everything starts to make more sense. Why saving feels slow, why investing feels necessary, why risk feels unavoidable, and more importantly, why so many people feel financially stuck, even when they're doing the right things. So where does that leave you? Not in a hopeless position, but in a different game than you were told. A game where saving protects you, but doesn't grow you. Investing grows you, but exposes you. And doing nothing slowly erodes you. That's the trade-off. And once you understand that, you stop asking, why isn't saving working? And start asking a better question. What role should saving actually play in this system? Because maybe saving was never meant to make you wealthy. Maybe it was meant to buy you time, flexibility, survival during uncertainty, and the real growth happens somewhere else. But that somewhere else comes with its own risks, its own rules, its own consequences, and that's the part most people step into without fully understanding. So now you're standing in between two uncomfortable realities. If you only save, you fall behind. If you take risk, you might lose. That tension, that's modern finance, and it's not going away anytime soon. So here's the question that actually matters. If the system quietly punishes people who play it safe, then what does being responsible with money even mean anymore? If you want to understand how money really moves and how to navigate it without guessing, subscribe. This is Huey Capital. See you.